25th November 2022 is the date today as we count down to the end of 2022. It's been quite an interesting year with a lot of happenings, a lot of changes, a lot of things that we've seen happen in the country, some which are developmental, others which are, I don't know, for lack of a better word, I don't want to say lack of developmental because there isn't such kind of a thing, but quite an interesting year. 2022 has been, and we are counting to the close of the year. Christmas is around the corner, New Year is around the corner. What plans do you have for your family and for yourself this Christmas? Let's get to interact and hear what you have to say. This is a breakfast show that comes to your set every morning from 07 hours to 09 hours, where we discuss a lot of important things happening in our country. Yesterday was another day, and today, of course, is another day. We are excited to stay with you on the program. For all those who've tuned in to watch, we appreciate your viewership. Camnet TV, remember, is not just another channel. We bring you a lot of interesting things and a lot of interesting topics of discussion. And then this program gives you a platform where you can call, make those submissions, contributions, questions that you have to ask with regards to a particular topic of discussion. And this morning, we are discussing the plight of small-scale miners in the country. Is the government doing enough to address the plight of these people? Remember, mining is the backbone of the country's development. We get most of our resources through mining, but we know that we are also losing huge sums of monies through small-scale miners, because some of which their businesses have not been legalized. That's why this morning we are discussing the plight of small-scale miners. But before we go deeper and, of course, allow our guest in studio, this morning we are going to do a little bit of exercise. Remember, exercising is important. We bring you the morning boost so that you can exercise, keep healthy, because a healthy nation depends on a healthy people. So we are going to go directly into our morning boost. If you cannot exercise with us this morning, I always emphasize, when you knock off before going to bed, just replay this clip on our Facebook page and get to exercise with us. We care for you as Camnet TV. That's why we bring you not just anything but important and special content. We have the morning boost. We have a healthy corner where we listen to what the doctors have to say. We also look at the money market. How is it that our local currency is performing against other major convertibles? So that and more on this program, we will, of course, get to see that. So right about now, let's go directly into the morning boost.
Hello, my name is Arson, aka the Fitness Puppy. We are here at Chonzi Fitness Gym in conjunction with the Camnet TV, and today we are going to do abs. We are going to do sit-ups. Get ready, we go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Keep going, 40 seconds. Thirty seconds. Let's go, 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10 seconds, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. Okay, so next one, just stand straight. Let's go, elbow to knee. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Both sides. Let's go. "40 seconds. go. 30 seconds. Keep going. 20 seconds. 15 seconds. Let's go. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and quit. Okay? Next one. We're doing a toe touch. This is probably the last exercise. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Go in. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. Come on. Let's go. 20 seconds. 15 seconds. Let's go. 10 seconds. Come on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and quit. Okay. Lastly, we are going to stretch. Okay. We're starting with the cobra stretch. Let's go for a minute. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, and we go. Let's go. This is what we call cobra stretch. It's a type of stretch that will stretch almost every part of your body parts. Let's go. Stretch the lower back, shoulders, legs, including glutes. Let's go. We have 30 seconds. Let's go. 20 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and quit. Okay, you've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Puppy. Until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to Camnet TV, and I hope we have exercised this morning. If not, find time to do that. Exercising is very important. Most of the time we see exercising to be for those who are well-to-do, or maybe for those who have different color skin and stuff like that, but that's not the case. Anyone can exercise. If you can't go to the gym, we bring the gym in your house because we care for you. That's why we bring you the morning boost so that you can exercise along with us. So let's ensure that we exercise to keep health. Talking about being health, we are going to also go into the health corner, where we are going to hear what the doctors have for us this morning. For those who are watching, the doctor's corner is also up for grab. You can sponsor this particular sector or segment so that we can have the doctors continue to come on the program on Camnet TV, where they talk about several illnesses, how you can treat them, and how you can go about living when you have a certain health condition. So let's get to hear what the doctors have to say on the doctor's corner this morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the breakfast show, in particular the health segment, which is proudly and happily brought to you by the Medical Women Association of Zambia. I'm Dr. Chelo Mwanza, a pediatrician. Today, we're going to look at nutrition, feeding habits, and the varieties of food that we can give to these children to enhance their proper growth. So this week, we can do a recap. So this week, we're looking at the importance of the under 5 clinic visits, and also there are various components and activities that actually do take place when we take our children there. So far, we looked at baby and parent information, and we also looked at growth monitoring in terms of their weight, their height, and brain development. We also looked at what we can do, what toys we can give to these children to help stimulate their brain to grow. And so today we're going to focus on nutrition. Basically, nutrition is what kind of food we give these children for the optimum growth that we desire to see in every child. Every growing child needs the right amount of food at the right time for them to grow as they're supposed to. So when a child is born, we expect that this child is exclusively fed on milk. It could be breast milk or it could be formula milk, depending on the parent's desire. Breast milk is the best milk for every child to grow adequately. Now, for the first 6 months, we expect that this child will be on breast milk alone. Well, not restricted to breast milk, but milk. It could be breast milk or formula milk. Children below the age of 6 months should not be fed on animal milk. So this is the milk that we buy from stores or shops. It could be cowbell, it could be needle, it could be all these varieties of milk. So this milk is not supposed to be given to the children because it will not enhance the growth that we want for them to have. So at about 6 months, you can start introducing other feeds to this child. So other feeds could be porridge, it could be mashed potato, it could be shima, even as this child starts to tolerate solid foods. Now, I should mention that there is no particular kind of food that is best to introduce when you start introducing foods to these children. Others say you need to introduce fruits before vegetables, and so on and so forth. It all depends on the baby's preference. What we need for you to learn is when you start introducing these foods, they should be balanced. Okay, so they should contain energy-giving foods. Those are the food that contain sugars, let's say mealie meal, rice, and so on and so forth. You also need to combine to the energy-giving foods the bodybuilding foods. Those are what we call proteins. So it can be beef, it can be sour, it can be chicken, it can be carpenter, it can be beans, it can be soya, whatever you are able to afford. You can also give them protective foods. So these are vegetables, fruits. And so one may ask, how then do you give, vegetables to this child that can barely, chew? It's not a problem. You can pound these various components of foods and add them to the porridge. You can pound the vegetables, you can pound the meat. In an event that you have a blender, it might as well work for you. So you may need to blend these various components of food and add them to the porridge. Even as your child starts to tolerate shima, you can give them all these other nutrients even through shima. So at the under 5, when you come for the visits, we have this card. So this, it shows clearly what kind of feeding we need to give this child. So you can see that from 0 to 6 months, this child should be exclusively fed on milk, like I have said. I need mention that if a parent opts to give a particular child formula milk, there's no one best formula to give a child, but it depends on which one the child tolerates. The brands could be different, but at the end of the day is what your child tolerates. And even as a family, as you decide that you will not breastfeed your child, you want to give them formula milk, you should be in a position that you can afford it. You have the know-how to make the milk. You have the adequate bottles. You have good water supply. You have the means of heating your water. And also that you can sustain. Because as a child grows, their demand for the formula milk will increase. So you should be, as a family, in a position that you are going to afford to buy the much needed milk. Sometimes what we do see is a family might opt to give this child formula milk, but then they make the milk so light that this child does not get the adequate nutrients, and the child ends up losing weight and not growing as they are supposed to. So then, if you come back to this chart, so after 6 months, when you introduce other feeds, it means that your child can breastfeed and have 3 other supplements of food. It could be in the morning, in the afternoon, and evening. So those are 3 extra plates of whatever you can afford, and mostly it's porridge. Then, after about 1 year, the demands for your child increase. So you continue breastfeeding them. They continue with 3 main meals and 2 snacks, okay? So you can breastfeed your child up to the age of 2, and if you still desire, you can still continue thereon until when you feel you can stop breastfeeding. But it's always important that you breastfeed your child up to the age of 2. So when we move on to the age of 2 to 3 years, they still need to take their 3 main meals and 2 snacks. So it could be they get their breakfast, and then in between around 10 you give them something extra. It could be a snack. They get their lunch, you know, and again at about 16 or so they get a snack, and they can have their dinner as well. So that's 2 to 3 years. It's the same between 3 to 5 years. Okay, so now I just want us to focus on the foods that we can give. We don't really need to look for exotic foods that we cannot afford. It's the basic food that we have in our homes: mealie meal, cassava, rice, chicken, fish, carpenter, beans, soya, the various vegetables. It could be rape, it could be calembla, the fruits that we have around, the mangoes, the guavas, the oranges. And so for children that can't really take these foods as raw as they can be, you can pound them for them, you can blend them, you can squeeze the juice out of a lemon and give it to your child to drink. So let's also not forget to give them adequate amounts of water. After 6 months, you can always give your child some water to take after each feed. And so this is what we had for you on the nutrition segment. Remember, nutrition, good nutrition, will enable your child to develop as they are supposed to. It will lead to proper weight gain, height gain, and brain development. Thank you so much for joining us. See you tomorrow, even as we look at vaccinations. Thank you.
That was Dr. Chelo, and of course she was talking about nutrition. It's very important for you to know what is it that makes you have a health life for your children and for everyone around you. You know, different ages require you in life to take certain kinds of food for you to remain healthy. But eating healthy foods will also contribute to your well-being. So let us ensure that we follow some of these advice that the doctors give us to ensure that we go through our daily lives without having so much health complications. Very important. That is very important. I emphasize, when I come on the program. Friday it is indeed, and we are looking at how is it that our local currency, that is the local kwacha, how is it performing against other major convertibles, kwacha against the US dollar, against the rand, against the British pound. How is it that our local currency is faring against other major convertibles? Let's get to see how the local currency is performing. I don't know if at all my producer, that segment is ready. Of course, there you have it. That is the money market for this morning. The Zambian kwacha against the Great British Pound is buying at 20 kwacha 20 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 16 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the United States dollar is buying at 16 kwacha 68 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 01 ngwe. Oh, we've seen our kwacha there slightly depreciating. And we just wish our currency all the best. The Zambian kwacha against the euro is buying at 17 kwacha 38 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 72 ngwe. The Zambian kwacha against the South African rand is buying at 0.98 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha. That is the money market for this morning. Zambian kwacha, I don't know what's happening with our local currency. But I also think the Bank of Zambia Governor, Dr. Denny Kaliadia, during the monetary policy announcement meeting on Wednesday, did speak to some of the factors that are contributing to our local currency slightly depreciating. We've seen kwacha has been performing better in the past few months, not few, in the past many months, about 5 to 6 months. It was performing better, but now we've seen it has started to depreciate. The Bank of Zambia Governor did mention something when they announced the policy rate. Remember, the monetary policy rate has equally been maintained at 9% for 4 consecutive quarters, meaning in the entire 2022, the lending rates by the banking institutions remained unchanged at 9%. I think this has been exciting news for those who owe money to lending institutions, financial institutions, and of course to other players in the sector. The lending rates have remained at 9% for 4 consecutive quarters. Then yesterday, of course, the Zambia Statistical Agency did also mention to the fact that our country's inflation rate is now at 9.8, a slight increment from last month, which was at 9.7. Not quite bad. And of course, the Bank of Zambia Governor did mention that the decision to maintain the policy rate at 9% has been because the country's inflation has been within the projected trajectory of about 6 to 8%, though they wanted to even go maybe slightly lower to the targeted range. But we are within those ranges, and other factors were also put into consideration. So we wish our government, of course, the best, even as they rule to better the lives of any Zambian, regardless of who you are, an opposition leader or anyone you are in society. We should look at how is it that we can positively contribute to the development of the country, and not how is it that we can be a problem or how is it that we can destroy. Remember, we only have one Zambia and one nation, and it is important for us to safeguard the interest of our country, offering the right checks and balances to the government, and of course, bring in those submissions that you have. That's why we give you programs like this where you can call and make a contribution, because we know the solutions to some of the challenges we go through in the country are, if you, the viewer out there, you hold the solution. So we give you an opportunity to just call and tell us what you think. So this morning we are discussing the plight of small-scale miners. Small-scale miners are an important player in the sector. We know that we are losing huge sums of monies through small-scale miners that can be relieved if the sector is well organized. So that is a topic of discussion this morning. But before we allow our guests in studio, we are going to zoom into one of the stories that made headline yesterday, and that is with regards to the civic space. McDonald Chipenzi, who's Gears Initiative Executive Director, was speaking to the fact that Zambia is not really attaining some of the UN subscriptions, some of the things that we've subscribed to as a country, we are not really attaining that. It is quite interesting, but maybe before we say much, let's get to hear what Gears Initiative has to say over some of the subscriptions that the country has made this morning.
As Zambia hopes to become a prosperous middle-income country by 2030, various commitments have been made to improve different sectors, which include the 2017 commitment to the United Nations Human Rights Council to enact laws that will enhance the civic and political space in the country. The commitments also include ensuring gender equality, and the recognition of rights for persons with disabilities, among others, totaling 203 commitments altogether. Governance, Elections, Advocacy, Research Services GEAR's Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi says Zambia has however failed to actualize many of these and will have few positive things to report to the United Nations in 2023, as the 5-year period in which they were to be attained is elapsing in 2022. Addressing the media Friday, Mr. Chipenzi notes that while the United Party for National Development UPND administration have made progress on laws like the Public Order Act, the Access to Information Law, which is one of the key laws for transparency, has not yet been enacted.
What else? Access to information. The bill is already done. So we are still at the bill stage. We haven't crossed over to the enactment. So perhaps if government can process these bills quickly, we are hopeful that come January or the February session, we shall have new law in terms of the Public Act, the information bill, the information law, and all these laws that I've talked about.
The GEAR's Executive Director therefore says a social contract should be included as Zambia reforms its constitution to keep governments accountable for what they say they will accomplish.
We as civil society, I think we've tried to negotiate that issue of broken promises by asking political parties to sign a social contract. If you remember, even in 2012, we had called political parties to JCTR to sign a social contract on what they are going to do over the constitution. If you remember, that was 2015 somewhere there, during that presidential elections. Yeah, we went there. A few signed, others refused, because it's not legal.
The civic leader also observes that there is need to put clear laws that to create an understanding between operations of the media and the police, noting that while relations have improved under the current administration, formal laws should be written down. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
That was one of the news item that we had in our main news yesterday. GEAR's Initiative Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi actually addressed the media where he talked about a lot of aspects. Among them, we've not seen the information bill being enacted under the United Party for National Development. Some of the things they've subscribed to under the UN are coming to an end actually this year, and the country has not attained that. So it was speaking to the fact that we need to start putting the things that we do in practice, the things that we sign, the documents that we produce. Can we please begin to put them in action so that we are not left behind? So that was Mr. Chipenzi yesterday. Remember, this morning we are discussing the plight of small-scale miners, and you are given an opportunity to just call and make those contributions, submissions with regards to today's topic of discussion. So in studio, I am joined by Mr. Joseph Mwansa-Kabuswe, who is, of course, the president for the Federation of Small-Scale Miners in Zambia. Sir, good morning.
Good morning,
I don't know if you
Prudent.
prefer being called sir, if you prefer being called pastor, if you prefer being called bishop.
Pastor is fine.
Pastor is fine. All right. So Pastor Joseph Mwansa-Kabuswe, of course, is the president for the Federation of Small-Scale Miners in the country. A lot has been happening in the mining sector. We've seen a lot of illegal mining activities happening. We've seen the country is losing huge sums of monies through lack of revenue being collected from some of the small-scale miners from a lot of illegal mining activities, which has now prompted the government to take a step and give a 30 days amnesty period in which, is it 30 days or 60 days? Pardon me.
It is 3 months, 90
which
days.
is 90 days amnesty period in which the small-scale miners, illegal miners, should legalize their business. But maybe, Pastor, before we get to speak on that particular topic, just give us a little bit background about your association, the Federation of Small-Scale Miners. Who are you? Maybe the viewer out there would want to know.
The Federation of Small-Scale Miners, it's an umbrella body. It has 16 associations under, and we oversee the association and the activities which they do in different provinces. I'm the president of Federation of Small-Scale Miners, and our work is to help to be a mouth pleased to speak on behalf of the people of Zambia, those miners who are mining in different provinces, and we are also like an advisors to the Ministry of Mines, who are our partners. We work together, and we have been working together for the past, I think, maybe more than 10 years now. Okay. Even those who were there as a federation who started, they have worked with them. Then as we took over and we have continued to work with them, our law is to make sure that the miners, they have some people can speak on behalf of them, and their desire is achieved.
Okay. Yes. We know the sector, particularly the small-scale miners sector, has been faced with a number of challenges. Let's get to hear from you. What are some of the challenges that are being faced by small-scale miners in the country?
There are two major challenges which I know and I feel I should talk about. One of the biggest challenges that we are facing as small-scale miners is the process for one to get a license, especially those who are in the villages, the artisanal miners. The process doesn't encourage them to get the license. In fact, when I look at the process, it discourages them to get the licenses. But when you hear what we hear, it shows as if, you know, those people are being empowered. But when you look at what is on the ground, one can say, where is empowerment here? Of course, we have heard some good pronouncement from the minister. He has a desire to empower the small-scale miners and artisanal at all. But the problem, it's a process. If I was to talk about, maybe I can mention Zema. We have no problem and issues with the directors. They are great people. They are doing a great job. But we have a problem with the police. We have talked about this time and again, but because the nature of us Zambians, we don't want to act. When people are talking, we always, you know, sideline the message that is good for the nation, the message that can change the sector. We have been talking about this issue for a long time. Up to now, we have seen no change. One of the biggest problems is, you know, the people who discover the main laws are the villagers, who happen to be in different provinces, and these are the people who discover the main laws as they do their cultivation. Now, when you look at these villagers, they don't have money. They don't have money. If they discover the main laws, looking at the process of the licenses, it's also tough. At the end, they end up losing their minds to those people who have money. If I was to talk about, you know, Zema, which has been a problem, it's not Zema's constitution, it's this policy, which is a problem. When you ask the Zema people, they would say, no, us, we have no problem because we charge 13,000. We agree. They charge 13,000 for one to get the license. Now, let me explain how and why we feel people who are in the villages, they are not empowered. Here is a problem. One want to get a license. The minister gave us a good pronouncement where each one of us who are in mining are excited. And us, as a Federation of Small-Scale Miners, we support that pronouncement. But then some hindrance comes in before even the pronouncement begin to work, before they formalize the sector. Here is a big problem that we are facing. Number one, when you begin the journey to apply for a license, artisanal, you have to pay 900 kwacha. Now, here is a village who have discovered some minerals in his field. Then this villager, let me use Lundazi because it's one of my favorite towns. This Mutonga discovered some minerals in his field and decided to come and get the license from Lundazi to Lusaka. Just to leave Lundazi to Lusaka, you are talking of 500 kwacha. Then when this person reach here, has to pay about 900 kwacha for the artisanal license. The process start. Then he cannot get a license without EPB. So one has to go to Environmental Council. They'll tell you, you have to engage the consultant. Now, the problem is not the ZEMA as institution. The problem is the police which attract now consultants. Now, when you go for consultants, they'll tell you, you have to pay about 30,000 kwacha. Maybe the lowest, 20 kwacha, 20,000 kwacha. Now, we are talking about this Mutongo came from Lundazi.
Who's only a farmer of a 2 hectare land.
Yes, he's failing even to buy 10 bags of fertilizer. He got 2 bags as loan. Then, by the special grace of God, he find an opportunity to find some minerals in his garden. And according to him, he think, this is my opportunity now. This is my chance which I've been waiting. Only to come and discover that his dream cannot realize, cannot be achieved because of those charges. You go to consultant, 30,000 kwacha. From consultant, you have to engage the safety. The safety people from Kitwe, you have to pay, it depends the distance. You have to pay about, if it's Rundazi, Mr. Mutonga has to pay about 10 to 12,000 kwacha. Then thereafter, it will not just end from there. This Mutonga has to engage the Ministry of Mines again for pegging certificate. It also depends the distance. Maybe pegging certificate can be about 5,000 because we have a bureau and we have great people who are working there. So Mr. Mutonga will engage the people from Eastern Province. Who will go to his mine, he has to pay for pegging certificate, and sometimes a buy fuel, it will come up to 6,000 or 8,000. After that, again you have to engage council. They also ask, we don't have transport, can you provide transport? So Mr. Mutonga has to look for another 2,000 to go to his place. Now, if you bring the money together, it will be almost 50,000. And when the consultant has done with your paper, you get your paper, go back to ZEMA, you have again to produce about 4 to 6 books, which you have to spend about 1,000 kwacha. Besides that, the ZEMA will charge you about 13,500. So can you see the process? It's about 60,000 to 80,000 kwacha. That is besides food and accommodation.
And the actual mining, that's just the registration.
Just that registration. Now, if you were to compare with the pronouncement and what is on the ground, are 2 different things. So before we do the we formalize the sector, we should first look at the problem. We have been avoiding to look at the problem from the time of Kaunda. All my life, it has been stones. In 1994, there were illegal mining, which is even far than today. Kaunda could, during the time of Kaunda, him and the administration, they could not look at the problem why there are so much illegal miners in Zambia. They avoid to look at the problem. What did they do? They engaged the police, the army, one of the most expensive cleanup which they did in 1984. They burned the houses in Marakata, in Francois, and at the end, did they achieve what they wanted to achieve as a government? No. Illegal mining continued. Now, imagine from 1984 to today, we are still seeing illegal mining. Now, here's a situation. Mutonga is being denied to get a license because of the money. Are you telling me that Mutonga will just be looking at the minerals because he's scared of illegal mining? No. Mutonga will continue digging without license because he doesn't have money to pay for the license. And the government, because also they have their policies and their people believe in law and order and we support that, they'll jail Mr. Mutonga. So we are going to have too many people in prison, not because they wanted to do to disobey the law, to disobey the law intentionally. No, because of the hindrances which has been put ahead of them. These hindrances has been there, and no one wants to talk about it. We have said to the power that be, please simplify the document. Because Mr. Mutonga cannot manage to write, you know, what is required by Zema, that 85 pages. He will not manage. He has to think about his cows and his garden. Then you want to overload him with that 85 pages. He will not manage. So what will Mr. Mutonga do? He will continue mining illegal. He will continue mining without a license. So what we have said, Prudence, is that they should simplify the document. They should just give, for artisanal, at least just 4 pages or 1 page. You tell people, few here, few that, this is what you should follow, this is what you should do. Then if you don't do that, we will come on you. In that way, Prudence will see things working out well. And there is one side that the government do not see. If they were to engage the artisanal, what they would benefit. There is one side that later on I will explain the benefit of engaging artisanal.
We're talking about small-scale miners. When we say small-scale miners, let's lower it to what is happening on the ground. What minerals are classified under small-scale mining? I know the Federation of Small-Scale Miners, you have mentioned, has about 16 associations under them. So which ones do you deal in when you talk about small-scale miners? Let's just classify them a little bit. What kind of mining activities do they engage in?
We are talking about gold, copper, manganese, emerald, gemstone, which are lead garnet, citrine, aquamarine, and morganite, amethyst. All kind of minerals are minerals which the small-scale miners are involved in.
Okay, interesting. Do you also, stone crushing, do you also classify it under small-scale mining?
They are part of us.
Okay.
It's mining.
So even for those who crush stones, when getting a permit, they are required to go through all that process?
I think for them, I would like to believe that it is much simpler than the artisanal miners.
Okay.
For them, they have an easy process. I'm yet to sit down and to hear exactly what they go through. Maybe they may also have some hindrances. But we have, I think in the past, we have been concentrating on copper, manganese, and these other stones. But even those are part of us, and we have the structure which has included them, and soon we'll begin to meet them, meet cooperatives. We have heard the president that is more on cooperatives, and the minister has talked about cooperatives time and again, and that's what we are also looking at, to engage more cooperatives so that we help our people to prosper.
Of course, this is a breakfast show, and we are coming to your screens from our studios here in Lusaka's Ibex Hill. And in studio, I am joined by Pastor Joseph Mwansa Kabuswe, who is the president for the Federation of Small-Scale Miners, and we are discussing the plight of small-scale miners in the country. We know a lot of pronouncements have been made under the United Party for National Development, UPND administration, with regards to how they want to see the mining sector being mined or being operated. Among some of the interesting things that have happened is the fact that government has given a 90 days amnesty period to all illegal miners and small-scale miners to legalize their business. 90 days amnesty period. And now I'm bringing this question to you, Pastor Kabuswe. Do you think this will address the challenges that is being faced in the sector? I know you've spoken about a lot of challenges that we face, and now government has given them 90 days amnesty period to ensure that they register their business. Do you think this is even attainable?
If they can look at what I've just mentioned, yes, can be achieved. As government, through the minister, they have made very great pronouncements, which if we were to follow it properly, I think we can achieve the intended purpose. But the problem will still go back to what I've mentioned, because as long as you avoid this, you will still be seeing some illegal miners, some illegal mining activities continue. Because why do we have illegal minings? Why do we have illegal miners? We have illegal miners because the process of attending the license, it is too difficult. It's too hard for an artisanal miner or some of small-scale mining guys to get the license. And if you look at the process, it only empower and encourage those who have money. Now, looking at the projection of the Minister of Mines and the minister himself and what he pronounced, we want about 3 million tons of copper, which can be achieved about 95% to, about, I would say 90%. It can be achieved. If we are to sort out this problem, we can achieve that. So the government, they have good pronouncement, which even us, as Small-Scale Miners Association, we have supported that. But what we are trying to say is that we are not even trying to say. What we are saying is that, please, don't avoid the issues that are hindering this sector. Because people in the villages, they will continue to remain poor. And people from town, they'll go and grab the mines because they don't have the money. There will be just a tool tools that will be used by certain people to get the licenses through their names because they do not have money. And another thing is that I would like to see as Zambian, we have to be united. We are so divided. We keep on fighting and allow these Chinese and other people, they take everything for free as we continue fighting. We need to be united. Once we become united, then we shall achieve our goals as a nation.
Interesting aspect there. We are seeing long queues at the Cadastre Department here in Lusaka, where the registration period, the registration of these mining activities is taking place. What are some of the challenges that your association members are facing when they go there at the Cadastre Department that has been leading to these long queues? I remember on Wednesday, when we passed through, we even saw a situation where government, the department had to close at lunchtime. It was around 12. They had to cut the line and sent others away and told them, come back later, because inside they had a lot of people that they could not even contain. So they had to cut the line and sent others off and told them to come back the following day. So what are these challenges that your association members are facing when it comes to legalizing their business at the Cadastre Department here in Lusaka?
I think the problem that every Zambian and the Ministry of Mines has faced during the first day of opening the Cadastre, it's an information that maybe our people have received with mixed feelings. Some, they thought if you go after one day, maybe your place may be taken by someone. So there was like a tug of war. Each and every person wanted to be number one. And I think the first day or second day, there were some commotion which attracted even the police to come to calm the situation. Thank God for the police. They came in fast and everything was calmed. You know, being a first day, it's not an easy day. And it's something that is happening maybe for the first time to experience such kind of things. Maybe it has happened before. Now, the Ministry of Mines, they don't have enough officers. Maybe in few weeks or few months to go, they will employ more or they will bring more at Cadastre. They had few officers who failed to manage the crowd that came. But I had sat down with the director of mine, the director of Cadastre, we talked about one or two things how they can manage. If you are to go today, I think you will see a calm situation. Everything, it's like I've come back to normal. They are doing everything possible to normalize things, and we have faith and trust in our director at the Ministry of Mine. He's a very professional man, and you have at least good workers who can support the vision of our government. So far, I think the situation has been controlled. They are trying their level best to make things work. And as the Federation of Small-Scale Miners would like to encourage our people, please, when you go there, be calm. And if there is any situation maybe which may occur or something happen which you don't like or you are unpleased, please inform us so that we can maybe talk to you and later on talk to the director. That's a process that we are taking. We have been engaging ourselves with the Cadastre, and we have been talking here and there. Another time I went to see the deputy director who unveiled certain things which we didn't even know. And after discussing, we realized that, okay, we have to inform our people in this way. And it is working so well. And after having a discussion with the two gentlemen at Cadastre, the director and the deputy director, we have seen that their passion to improve the standard of living and to empower the artisanal, which is more of Zambians, it is something that is in their hearts. I've heard them mention time and again, they have that passion to empower us. We are up on that aspect. Getting back to the situation that occurred, I think I would say that everything is normal today. I haven't passed by today. Yesterday I passed by just to see how things are working. I saw the situation is calmed and everyone, I think some of the people there, they were happy. Of course, there are those who would feel, no, we are not yet pleased of what is happening. But I would say 70–80%, everything now is fine.
So do you think some miners will lose their place after this amnesty period is done? Because I'm being made aware to say during this registration period, you still have to pay something to legalize your business. But for those who might not maybe afford to do this, so do you think maybe some miners at the end of this amnesty period, they might end up losing their trading places?
There are two sides here. As Federation, we felt that, after submitting the papers, then later on they notify the process that you have to resubmit. There are those who got money on credit. They borrowed some money. Maybe Mr. Mutonga borrowed some money from somewhere. Maybe he borrowed money on interest. He has to pay more. And only to be told that you have to reapply in order for you to get the license. This is something which is worrying because not everyone has money. There are people who borrowed the money. Our suggestion was that they should have allowed those who paid use the same receipts to resubmit their application. I think we could have been satisfied in that way. But as usual, we always respect the government of today and their decree. We hope and trust that the directors and the permanent secretary will look into this. We have already unveiled how we feel, and these are great people and very professional people. I think they'll come up with something which will make our people happy. In Bemba we say, "Ubutungurushi bantu, ukwabula bantu taburi butungurushi." So leadership is all about people. You make your people happy. You empower your people. You improve the standard of their livings. Then you'll be called a wonderful leader. And I'm sure that the minister, the permanent secretary, and the directors, whom we believe they are capable of doing the required, especially for the Zambian people.
Wow. We did see last week, was it last week, where the minister did launch a policy document that will guide going forward how the operations of some of the mining sector will be done henceforth going forward. What is your comment with regards to the policy document? I don't know if you have taken time to read through all the policy document that was presented at that particular time, but do you think this policy document will now give direction to how the mining sector will be operated going forth?
Yeah, I would say it will give us a direction. If what the minister said can be implemented, there will be a great direction. One of the major points that I took from this pronouncement during the launching of the policy, I was there, is value addition. Value addition is to help to create jobs, indirect and direct, because when you start adding value on copper, gold, and manganese, definitely the companies need more workers in order to achieve their projection. Now, value addition is good if the governments, they are the one who be having the machinery to process the material. Because
I was even actually coming to that question. It's good that you are talking about it.
People not be cheated. How can you allow a situation where the buyer is the one who determines the percentage of copper? And this is how our people have been cheated time and again, because the buyer determines the price, not the miner. And sometimes you find maybe copper is 55% and you go to this gentleman from some country somewhere and you tell you, no, my friend, this is 20%, my price is this. You are powerless because you need money, you get the money. Why are you selling at that price? Because there is monopoly and there is a cartel which is working, and these people, they will not allow our people to sell at the right price. But with the coming of that pronouncement from the minister, which is very powerful, at least we can see a light at the end of the tunnel. We feel that it was a great pronouncement, and what I see in that is that there are minerals that have maybe cobalt, especially when you are mining copper, cobalt, gold, zinc, and some other minerals. So if we have a smelter under the government, they will process that and separate. There are some machines which would separate gold this side, copper, zinc in 4 categories. So if I take my goods there, my minerals there, the machine it will separate all the minerals in 4 different categories, and the buyer will give the price based on the categories, not the way it is. There is a lot of manipulation. Gold, zinc, and copper, you sell at one price. Why? Because you are not the owner of the smelting plant. The Chinese, they are the owner. They are the one who determine what they should pay. They will not even tell the percentage properly and what is there. And these are the problem that we are facing. So if they can bring this, the plants to begin to do everything in Zambia, that value addition, it will really add value on the lives of Zambians. There will be employment. And the minister talked about reopening Mansa battery, which is a plus. So all these plans are very good for a country, because I think even the president is so keen to see that Zambians are employed, Zambians are empowered. And not only that, we want to see a lot of things changing. This is a country that is very rich. It's not among the poor country, as they say. Some of us who have been in countries, in different countries doing the exhibition, we know exactly that our country is rich. And looking at what we have, all what we need is proper management. If we can have proper management and we have people that God maybe would give wisdom to advise the government, like some of us, then we'll see a tangible result in our nation. In the past, we had a gap between the Ministry of Mines and the Federation of Small-Scale Miners, because the Ministry of Mines, they didn't want to come down to meet us where we are. We are on the ground. We understand our people. We know our people very well. But the problem is that the relationship is not much strong. We are supposed to work as one, under one Zambia, one nation, to help our people, empower our people, to make our people functioning in a manner way. But the gap, that's where the problem is. You know, Prudence, there are times that you hear there is Indaba. Only one person maybe to phone, Mr. President, are you aware that there is Indaba? What kind of Indaba about mining? How do they have Indaba when as part of the key stakeholder we are not there? So they avoid to invite you for some reason which they know, and we are the people who are supposed to inform our people. And in fact, what we are planning based on the pronouncement of the minister, that policy, we are going to interpret in different languages and give our people so that they may lead according to their understanding. We want to interpret it into different language, send them into different provinces, so that our people can start reading and see this is what the government want to achieve, this is what the government are saying. But most of the time, we are not being invited. The ZRI, they had a workshop talking about tax. We are not there. So how do you avoid the stakeholder? This is the gap I'm talking about. There is a problem. Lack of transparency in our country. That's a major problem. When it is to do, is to do about mining, we cannot be avoided because we are a voice for the Zambian people who are mining. We need transparency and we need to work as one. We would like to help the Ministry of Mines, the government, and to work in hands with them so that we achieve the goals of the government. We are not a pressure group. We are an organization that would like to work with the government, and we have been working with them. But I would like to say, so far, so good. They are doing everything possible to engage us, and at the moment, we are a bit fine. We are happy.
We know the greatest challenge when it comes to small-scale miners is lack of proper equipment to do mining. I understand that today I may discover minerals at my farm, at my backyard, at my small place and stuff like that. But the greatest challenge that we are faced with as small-scale miners is when it comes to the issues of equipment. How do you think the government can bridge that gap to ensure that small-scale miners have access to equipment? What is it you think should be done to ensure that small-scale miners can have access to equipment that can be used in these mining activities?
Thank you very much, Prudence. That's a great question. During the time of His Excellency former President Edgar Lungu, there was a time that they gave 30 million to musicians. As small-scale miners, we wrote, we had asked that they should also give us 30 million kwacha as a sector. We wanted to buy about 50 second-hand excavator. Okay. Then if they had given us that money, by then it was about, the US dollar, it was about 15. We were going to buy 30 to 50 excavator, which we could have given 10 provinces. Okay. You are talking about 5 excavators to do their mining properly than it is today, because it takes long for you to produce because of using hands. And the time you realize all the money that you had is gone. When your money is gone, the Ministry of Mines will come. Area charges. And again, when you look at area charges, they don't send notice. They will just send a notice. We give you 21 days. If you don't pay, we'll get the license. But they did not even give you a warning. Have been working with hands. I don't have where to get the money. The bank can't give me any loan.
Now my money is gone. What do? If I can't get the money, it means my money will be grabbed by the government and they'll give to whomsoever they feel this one as mine. Money can continue with my mind, and that's another problem. But I can see that the government of today, they are trying to reason. They are doing some adjustment in this area which I've just mentioned. We need equipment. This song has been there for a long time. You go to Emerald area, you find that most of Zambian people, they have great minds. Do they have money? They don't have money. What does Kajam do to those people who have the mines? Do Kajam take even some equipment, say, okay, let me help the Zambian people also to become like us? They don't do. Apart from building those cheapy, anyway, let me not to go into that. We have been trying here and there, but not much. There is one mine that I know called Argentina. This is a productive mine. But this man, Mr. Mkwala, is struggling. He's one of our executive members. He's struggling up to now, failing to buy some fuel. Now imagine those two guys, two companies. If they have the heart of Jesus Christ, they could have said, okay, let's help the Zambians so that they may also help their people. But that is not there. So we are appealing again to the government, empower mining, citrine mine in Mansa. When I produce the citrine mine, the first thing that I would like to do is to export. Now, look, and the importance after this process, you pay also mineral royalty based on the amount that they will put on the paper. 1 acre equals to 5 in the village. We cannot judge they go back. You are fighting. We are known to be fighting towards each other. But what we want is us as federation